right. BuzzCity is here at the Copper Kettle with Saskatchewan supergroup trio, Semko Fontaine Taylor, who have a show tonight at O'Hanlon's as part of their Saskatchewan mini tour. Okay, all three of you have impressive curriculum vitae in the music scene, locally and nationally. I understand you connected at the University of Saskatchewan, Emma Lake Songwriting Retreats, where you were also songwriting instructors, mentors. Saskatoon-based singer-songwriter Lynn McGuinness threw down a challenge when she said, "You three amigos should really make an album together." You took up the challenge, each bringing 3 songs to the table. Heartaches and Numbers is the byproduct of that recording project, so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, how far back do you want to go?
Go back. You guys were friends.
Well,
really,
and
we're connecting before
we started collaborating when we were working on my second album, Life Happens. You were my producer, and you were coming in to play bass, and you sang Sad Love Song with me.
That's right.
Then after we started doing the Emma Lake Kenderdine retreats together and started doing more together, and then you did your record, and you know, I did some stuff on there, and we did
your record.
We did my record, and you guys were my producers.
Yeah, it just...
It was a fairly natural progression, I think. You know, I mean, it was... I guess I got to know Dave the first time I met him.
So you guys had met before.
We had met.
Yeah.
You know, the first time I met him was a number of years ago. You know, like probably 7 or 8 years ago, playing in Moose Jaw at the theater there.
Yeah.
Gorgeous little theater. What was it?
May Wilson
Theater with the Northern Pikes, and we were playing that. And if you don't know that, I'm a guy. I wouldn't say the Northern Pikes are we're not retired. We do the senior tour now. That's what it is. But we still play occasionally. Yeah, well, not yet, but you know. But we have a lot of fun anyway. But anyway, the Pikes were playing, and this guy was playing, Dave Taylor, and he was the opener. And I was really blown away because he did all these kind of. It was the first time I'd seen anybody using loops and singing their own harmonies and getting their own.
That's really brave stuff to get up on stage and get all that coordinated.
Oh, he was good at it too.
I watched you do that, and I just go, oh man.
It's a little crazy. It was yeah.
And then I ended up doing some stuff in the studio with Kim, and Kim and Dave had been doing some stuff together, etc. And so we all ended up being instructors, for lack of a better word, at the Kenderdine campus, which is up at Emma Lake, through the University of Saskatchewan. And Kim was really instrumental in starting a whole series of songwriting courses there. And she had Dave come up, who's an award-winning producer, engineer, as well as being a really good musician. And Kim, you know, is really well-schooled in songwriting. And I'm sort of, I don't know, I guess I've just done lots of records and written lots of songs. So between the three of us, we kind of created this curriculum, really, the first year out. And since then, just connected. And it's become this tribal, familial thing where... You know, I kind of do stuff with Dave, kind of do stuff with Kim, and Kim does stuff with me, and Kim does stuff with Dave, and Charles on another fourth guy in the mix.
Poor Charles sitting there, he's like, who's that?
God, I played gigs with Charles off and on for years. It's a very natural progression. At the end of the day, we're all really good friends. We really have a lot of fun playing together, and we really respect each other's particular talents. So it just ended up being a natural thing.
That's the ideal scenario that every musician wants.
Yeah.
There's lots of history of musicians, you know, who can't even look each other in the eye.
Yeah.
But, you know, they play for years because, you know.
Well, it was really interesting making this record because you asked about how did the record work, right? Because we all come in from varied places. We just kind of all this stuff kind of came together. And what we did was we picked 3 songs each, and then in 3 days, there was a lot of threes involved in this. There was 3 amigos, 3 people, 3 songs, 3 days. And we literally in 3 days, with 2 microphones in Jay's living room with a real piano, we made an album of 9 songs. And we cheated a little bit. Like a couple weeks later, we went back over. We added a couple little things, and, you know, tweaked a couple things here and there. But for the most part, everything was recorded multi-tracked with 2 microphones. So every single thing that was performed has depth of the room. And I then mixed that in the studio, and then we got this really awesome guy named Peter J. Moore in Toronto to master the album. And he did the Trinity Sessions, which is one of the greatest live recordings ever, right? So when we were sort of I remember when he was working on the mastering, I was like terrified phoning this guy. I'm like, what do you say to a guy like that, right? And he was like, it was really interesting how, what did he say? He's like, it was really interesting how the record was, there's a lot of depth. Like, did you use the so-and-so microphone, the same microphone you used on that? I'm like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I got to interrupt you. Like, this is insane that I'm talking to you right now. I don't even know what to say. Like, you're a god, whatever, you know? And he's like, I took some liberties. I wanted to make it sound a little more expensive. And so he added some depth in with reverbs and some really clever stuff. Oh, when you hear the mixes that I did and when you hear what he did, it's like a lesson in creative and beautifully organic mastering. Like, he just made this record rule. So we all sat back when, well, we did that for a lark. It cost us like $1 because we all did it ourselves. I produced it. I engineered it. Did almost all the tech stuff.
It's like a hybrid of the DIY ethos.
Very much so. But we came away from it going, wait a second, like, this is a really good album instead of just something we did for fun, which is why it's, I think, because it has a vitality to it, because we were all looking at it as something that was a fun collaborative thing as opposed to something, and now we're off to South by Southwest and all these things are happening and people seem to really connect with the music and stuff, so it just sort of happened naturally and organically and out of a great deal of respect for each other as people. And
we have fun singing together more than anything. I think
harmonies.
Everybody harmonizes well, and I mean, it's just really a kind of a. It all seemed really natural. Like I said to Kim, I said, we don't seem to be really trying that hard, but yet lots of kind of interesting, cool things are going on. Like we're doing some live recording with CBC actually tomorrow night for Canada Live, which is a national radio show, and. Like Dave was saying, we've been invited to South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, and I mean, really and also the label that we're on, Busted Flat Records, is a label that I put some of my solo stuff out, well actually all my solo stuff out on, and I gave it to Mark Logan, who's the head guy there, and he loved the record. He said, it just seems very cohesive. That was his comment. Even though it's 3 different people and 3 different songwriters, he said there's really a cohesion in there, and I really respect Mark's opinion because he's a record store, indie record store owner, and a true music fan, and that's really why he started that label. And so we have national distribution through them, and Universal distributes it, I guess, through Sonic Onion and then Universal sort of thing. So it's kind of it's a neat thing. All these things have just naturally fallen into place, and it's been kind of a thing,
I'm hearing a synthesis of divergent talents.
Totally.
And are you discovering something new in this?
Today we did. I mean, we're playing with Charlie, and we've done a number of configurations where we play as a trio, then we play with like 7 people. We got like Ross Nicoforic and Warren Rutherford and your buddy Debbie getting up singing backup harmonies. Like, we do like that kind of a configuration. But this is the first time, except for the rehearsal these guys had up in Saskatoon a couple days back. Tonight we rehearsed before this show, and it was like, whoa, this is a completely different thing with Charlie. So it's like, it doesn't feel like a trio today anymore. So when you said trio at the intro, it's like we're a group. And it manifests itself in different ways. And I mean, when we started, we were very pots and pans. Like our last performance in Regina Beach, Kim's banging on a guitar case, getting up, we're swapping instruments, and now having Charlie as a foundation creates. Yeah, and there's that vitality, there's that whole new thing. Like, I mean, I even suggested jokingly, we're not going to do it, but Kim, this one tune, it was like, why don't you play Triangle? and she was actually running around like, do you have a triangle? And Charlie's like, I didn't bring my triangle, I'm sorry, man.
I almost did.
But, I mean, it was kind of serious,
on the table.
Yeah, I mean, she could just get up there and just be like, ting, but because we play infrequently, I mean, we don't go out on huge, long tours or anything, but we play together, I guess, infrequently enough that it's constantly fresh and new, and
I think we do
feels
so
like
many
the first
things
time.
together. We almost understand how each other thinks without even really having to say things.
Exactly.
There's a lot of intuition
Yeah.
that happens that just feels natural.
So right now, for all of you, 3 main components, this is your go-to project right now, your main focus.
I think right now it is. I mean,
Yeah, tonight
reality is.
it's a good show.
Well, Kim has a solo record out. I have a solo record. Dave's in the process of
I'm just
recording
in
one.
pre-production of a solo record.
And Charles was playing drums on
Plus
his.
playing drums,
And
I'm
he
sure they're going to be
Play
doing some
drums on
harmonies
mine,
on that
yeah.
And he
probably
played
too.
some drums on mine too. So we're
Yeah.
all kind of like, it's a family situation really is what it ends up being. And
Well, Jay, you're the founding member, of course, the Northern Pikes, and you've recorded with some pretty heavy hitters. Garth Hudson of the band, John Johnson passing. You toured with David Bowie, Robert Palmer, Peter Frampton, any others. So you've got a wide spectrum there.
I've been lucky. I've had some really fun,
Yeah.
interesting experiences.
Yeah, but I
you
mean,
know.
that stuff happens for a reason. You know.
I hope so. I don't know. I mean, you know what? Every session I've ever done, every recording session, every gig I've ever done, I've learned something. And it's interesting because I went through a phase a number of years ago where I was really burnt out, and I wouldn't say I was tired of music, but I was just at the point where I'd lost my spark, I thought. And I stopped for a little while,
Yeah.
and not for that long,
Volunteering, yeah.
and I came back at it with a renewed vigor, and I love music more than I ever have, and I love performing live. I don't even call it performing. It's such a cheesy term in some ways. We don't perform. We're not faking it. We're just ourselves up
Yeah,
playing
we're just
music,
playing
you know.
in front of a room.
So for me, I love it more than I ever have. I love being able to connect with other musicians, and that's the most fun. I was talking about that with Charles yesterday. I said, "Do you ever play the drums on your own?" And he said, "Well, sometimes." And he said, "Well, do you ever play the bass on your own?" I said, "No." I said, "It's kind of boring. It's much more fun when I'm playing with other people." And I think we could each individually say that. It's just, you know, with some exceptions, obviously. But I mean, it's definitely pretty neat when you can connect cerebrally through music. And I feel really lucky we're able to do that. And a lot of people don't really get that experience, you know.
Sweet spot, and that's what it's all about.
Well, when you've got three, I would say, major talents here, right? You can either fuse or fight, right? That seems to be what
We
happens.
Well, I mean, it's not
We fought.
that, not every single day it's been like, yay. I mean, no, I mean, there's definitely, I think what it boils down to is all of us have been in scenarios where, you know, it's not, you go through the people throwing stuff through the kick drum and, you know, can I swear? It's the internet, right? Shit flying everywhere. And we all know how far that can go and how crazy that can be. And I think we all come in going, okay, like, this is all about having a good time and all about fun. So, but there is passion, like you said. I mean, and there's obviously, I mean, I mean, what is it? We got like 40 albums released between the three of us, or 30 something. Like, it's stupid. Like, we've all,
40?
I don't know. It's
don't know.
like I've
I've never
got
counted
15 and Jay's got like 24 or something. Like, we figured it out one day. It's just stupid, the amount of years of experience and like connection and all that stuff. And so coming in, you've all got a preconceived notion, and I think we're all comfortable enough in our own shoes that we don't need to prove ourselves to each other. That there's none of that, like, you know, the bass player, I really like my part. Like, there's none of that shit going on.
Well, maturity weighs in, you know.
For
Yeah.
sure.
That's always.
And I'm the baby, so I mean, I probably like whine.
Well, you know, the nice thing is you do it for a while, and like I say, you can take it two ways. You can get tired of it, or you can love it more. And for me, and I think probably for everybody, we love it more. I mean, we don't have to do this. We do it because we really like doing it, and it's fun. And just the whole connection. I just feel so privileged and grateful to be able to play music, you know? I mean, it's just really... And I think when you're thinking like that, you don't age mentally all that well, or age mentally all that quickly. You stay young, and I've seen it. I have lots of friends who are
There's lots of evidence for that.
in their 70s that have just as much youthful spark, if not more, than a lot of people in their 20s, you
It's a
know?
musical fountain of youth, you know.
I think so. I think the arts in general, really, you know, it's one of those things where you just keep, it's a circle, and you keep rotating, and it's great.
Cool.
So, any grand plans after this mini tour? Or are you going to the South by Southwest, of course?
Well,
doing any other?
we're doing that.
National touring?
We've got some talking to do.
Yeah, it's like you said, we're taking it sort of as it comes, and every day is like a whole new sort of
Yeah.
thing. So I think this tour is going to be a real binding kind of a gelling thing. And then going to the States,
that's-
going to South by Southwest, like we've all been. I spoke on a panel, Jay's played solo, Kim's played solo. We were in Kim's band, so we've all been together collectively. So this is like the first time we've gone as like a band of like we're an equal sort of entity of, you know, where versus me being Kim's guitar player or Kim being Jay's bass player or whatever, like. And so we're gonna have 5 days in a foreign country in a really amazing city with like crazy things going on. It's like nuts. So that's going to be a really eye-opening experience. I think we got musical instruments on hand. You know, we're going to be playing a bunch of shows, and showcase opportunity, big all that kind of stuff. And so coming away from that, we're all going to be like, whoa, for a couple weeks probably, and then we'll be able to answer that question.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
we are doing the songwriting retreat up at Emma.
Yeah,
we're
that'll
doing
be
up at Emma
May.
Kenderdine in September.
September
We're
it is.
doing a creative residency up there, so we're going to be up there writing together. So our next album we're going to co-write together,
Yeah.
as opposed to 333,
Push the bounds.
and we'll be
Definitely.
starting our new album. But
Do you
yeah,
know the
we
dates for this seminar?
Yes.
September long weekend.
September long.
Well, we do a workshop September long weekend. Then we're staying behind for a week to do.
Is it after or before?
Yeah, it's right after.
Okay.
And
It's
we're
a Labor
staying
Day
behind
weekend,
to
yeah.
do the
So we do
the
thing,
residency.
and then we're going to stay and do some writing.
So yeah.
Making it
So
really
so
amazing,
it'll be
amazing place.
we'll be thinking about the next record. So before we go, can we give Charlie the last word?
Absolutely. Charlie, let her rip.
Well, I don't know what. Jeez.
John.
I think that.
Famous last word.
Yeah, with some wise words, Charlie D.
What do you got, man?
No, I think that
Give the drummer some.
Jay and I started working back in '98, I think it was, and then Kim and Dave here in the last, I don't know, 5-6 years or
Good.
something. And I think that it kind of started where we started working with Lynn when we did stuff with Lynn McGuinness.
Lynn's a,
yeah.
Lynn's a huge
Lynn's,
connection
yeah.
to all
Yeah.
of this. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
The connector, right?
and it was from that point on that I started noticing that, at least I thought, the four of us really had this sort of connection and this energy where it was, you know, we could almost read our minds, you know, and we really gel. We've got a great energy together, and every time we rehearse, it's almost like we've been on
It's like-
tour for
and it feels like a
years
show,
or-
though.
It does.
feels like
yeah.
we're performing. It's like, and we're just kind of going la 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 because we're rehearsing.
Yeah.
But it's still like,
It's
like,
good.
whoa,
Yeah.
like
It's
who are
good.
you? You know?
Yeah, no, I've always enjoyed, you know, playing with the three of them, and whenever I do, even in studio, there's this energy in studio where we're not doing, you know, 4, 5, 6 takes of a song.
No, it's just
two
it's just done.
at the most, you know.
There
and
you
it's-
go. That
There's,
was the
there's
one.
something there, and I've always enjoyed, you know, playing these.
Yeah, you hear all these horror
composers.
stories. Take 70 and
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Uh-oh.
sure.
Well, I
You're
think
comping the
yeah.
hell out of a track, and you're, you know.
And you're
beat it
making,
into the
you're
ground.
editing music. Up.
Is that normal for you? You get this down in 2 takes?
Oh, it's.
Yeah. Pretty
Well,
well,
When we've done it, when we've been in a session together, it's been
Oh,
it's
yeah.
been that.
Pretty
It's
quick.
been-
Our basic tracks were
sometimes
like the
we
bed
do,
tracks
yeah.
for this album were pretty much like first or second.
Sometimes
especially the
we
acoustic.
do an extra one, but we go back to 2. You know,
Yeah.
we go back. Sometimes we go back to 1. But
We were talking about that, and the thing was, we were listening to the disc on the way down. I hadn't actually listened to it for a long time, and to the Heartaches and Numbers, and I told Kim, I said, you know, I remember calling Dave, you know, after a couple days after he went back, and said, oh, you know, can you use a different vocal take on this song? And I think it was Before You Leave Canada, the
Yeah.
song Before You Leave Canada, and Dave sort of was in the studio, and he looked, and he said, well, that's the only one.
Yeah.
I kind of go, okay, I guess that's the one.
Yeah.
There was one part that I thought I could have sang differently in one spot, and then he said, nope, that's the one that you sang. That's
Yeah.
so a lot of those
Axl Rose, if
songs.
you're out there,
That's
please
it.
know.
It's one.
Well, and
It's
we
this
would
one.
what
Don't
would
worry,
have
after fixes,
happened?
it's it.
Yeah.
Because we all three co-produced it, and there were a few times like that where I think like Kim sang "Help," and you and I were both like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, that was a religious experience." You're like, "I have to do it again," and we're like, "No, we don't. No, you don't. It's good." And we kind of were like, "Are you sure?" And it was like, "No, seriously, trust me, it's really good." And that happened a lot on that record where we just. Yeah, we were, I don't know, we were kind of making it up. I mean, there's video footage of Kim with a spatula on a cymbal, like, shing, laughing, like, shing, and it's in there. It's in the.
some of that.
You've got all that footage. It ended up being low res,
be a
but
good
we've
yeah,
got,
it was just shot on a little.
we've
on
got
a
little low res. Like,
This is the internet. We can do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what
so-
though? I had a computer crash. I lost a hard drive, so I don't think I have it anymore.
Happened to me.
That's okay. Everyone, you're not supposed
Yeah.
to see that shit anyway.
But it was
Better
good.
hard drive.
It was good. Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been excellent, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for
you.
talking
Thanks
with
so
us.
much for giving us
No
this
problem.
time. And onward and upward.
So you'll send us all links when it's
Yeah,
all
we
posted
will.
and everything?
Oh, cool. That's great.
Cool.
So bye from
Oh.
BuzzCity.
Go hard.
Bye
Bye
from
bye. Bye, guys.
SFT and Charles.
And see.
And see.
SFTC or D.